Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Molly O'Brien, live in the Navigant Credit Center, Broadcast Center, and I have two very special guests with me. Sorry, I got a little flustered here because a live barred owl is joining us. Also joined with Ann DeMonte from the Audubon Society of Rhode Island. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
I don't think I've been this close to... I do a lot of work with rescue dogs and rescue cats, and I was so excited to have a raptor in studio. I've been looking forward to this moment for, a couple weeks working with you guys.
Well, thank you.
But I got a little flustered, I have to say. It's a pretty amazing experience to be this close to...
It's something that a lot of people get a chance to do. So, yeah, it is very, very special.
This is amazing. So tell me a little bit about Eek. She's gorgeous.
Right. Well, you mentioned about rescue, and actually she is equivalent to a rescue dog or cat. She's a rescue bird. The Audubon Society has a number of raptors that are in our care because they've been injured. A raptor is a bird of prey, like an owl, a hawk, an eagle. They have certain features about their bodies that make them raptors, which I can talk about. And they primarily eat meat, and that's one of the reasons that they're called raptors. This bird is at our Environmental Education Center in Bristol. That's where her name comes from. It's short. EEC is short for the Environmental Education Center.
That's where the EEC. I was thinking you emailed me and it's like EEC.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where she gets the name. She's the Environmental Education Center owl, and we've had her now about 6 years. She was struck and hit by a car.
Wow. And
she's blind actually in this eye, and because of that, she couldn't be released to the wild. Many of our birds have similar injuries, either an injured wing or have limited flight, and in some way they've been through testing with a veterinarian and they've been determined that they can't be released. So instead they go into educational programs like at the Audubon Society of Rhode Island, where they become ambassadors for those wild species.
Wow. And so you're saying you bring her to do some educational work because she's pretty calm. And when she came out of the crate you had back there, she was flustering around, and I'm thinking, this must be a different experience for her, but maybe not so much.
It is, definitely. These birds are all trained to do these types of programs. Like I said, we've had her actually probably longer than 6 years now. It's going on 8. So she's been doing this type of thing for a while. And actually some birds are more calm in a certain situation like this than others. But it's a long time getting them to this point through a lot of training. So a typical wild raptor would not be able to handle a situation like this. And they're used to certain training techniques that we go through with them. And not any bird can come out of the wild and suddenly become an educational bird. There's state and federal regulations that we have to go through, and certain procedures that we have to go through before we can actually keep a bird like this for education.
So tell me a little bit about her and the barred owl specifically. I mean, you're only able to, we only have her for a certain amount of time because she can't be too light to hold.
Right. No, she's actually about 3 or 4 pounds, but after a while that amount of weight at the end of your hand gets a little heavy. But barred owls are the most common owl we have in Rhode Island. There's 8 species of owls in Rhode Island that we have. Some only pass through, like the snowy owl. We only have it here in the winter, and then it goes back up north in the summertime. But barred owls are our most common, so you can see this type of owl more than any other type of owl. And if you look at her feet, she has large nails on her feet called talons, which is the reason I'm wearing gloves. And she has a large curved pointed beak, which of course she's turning her head right now. Something else has got her attention. And they use those talons and that beak to rip and tear food. They eat things like mice, squirrels, some birds of prey eat other birds. Sometimes they'll eat something like a snake, that type of thing. And this is the time of year that they're most active. This is the time of year they're looking for mates, and they actually have their babies in the winter time.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so this time of year is when we usually run our owl prowls. So we bring people out at night to look for owls. In fact, we have one coming up on the 24th. So if people are interested in trying to go out and look for wild owls, they can join us on an owl prowl. So
that's so cool. Yeah. And where do you do that?
Well, actually, all the information is on our website, on our calendar. It's one of our last owl prowls of the season. So if anyone's interested in doing it, I recommend you sign up early because they fill up very quickly.
Great.
Yeah, so
an owl prowl.
Yes.
And so she's one of just a few birds that you have as an educational ambassador. You also have one other bird that you've had, a red-tailed hawk, and he's special.
He is. So about a year ago, we got a young red-tailed hawk. We believe his injury was a little bit unique. We believe he was injured during his first few weeks of flying, where his fledgling stage. So when he was learning to fly, we think he fell from his nest and actually dislocated and broke his shoulder, and the shoulder never healed properly. So he went to a wildlife rehabilitator. They tried very hard to get him back and on his feet and flying again, and unfortunately they realized that his flight was limited. So he came to us, and actually he's the one bird that we have at Audubon that's actually on public display. So you can come to our Environmental Education Center and see him all the time. He's on public display. This owl is not, because this owl does programming and goes to places like this, she's not on public display because that would be too stressful.
Yeah,
for a bird to come to something like this and then go to then be on public display on top of it would just be too stressful for them. So she's actually off display, but if you come and see our red-tailed hawk Finn, you can see him anytime when you visit the Environmental Education Center in Bristol.
And you do so many programs through education, and you have a lot of resources to you, but that's all through fundraising, and I think that's important. You made this distinction to me just a few moments ago that you don't get any state funding.
Correct.
And
that's correct. The Audubon Society of Rhode Island is one of the original Audubon societies. We began in Massachusetts. Audubon is the first. They began in 1896, and we're one of the original Audubons. The National Audubon Society started about the 1940s, and they're a larger national organization. But we are a completely nonprofit organization. We rely on donations and memberships, people paying for programs and coming to do programs. And that's how we raise funds to care for these birds and do some of the programming that we do. But we don't get any government funding. We don't get any funding from National Audubon or anything like that, or the state.
And that's important to get some funding through fundraising, because one of these birds eats quite a bit a day. And you say a bird like this is pretty expensive.
They do. We spend thousands of dollars every year just to feed our birds. That doesn't include veterinary care. We have a wonderful veterinarian who donates a lot of her time to us, but there's still medications and things like that we have to pay for. So it does get very costly. As we were talking about, one of our hawks eats about 6 to 8 mice a day, and each mouse costs about $1. So if you do that every day and start to multiply it, you'll see it gets very, very expensive. So
yeah, that's more than just like a bag of cat food
yes,
or something.
It's very true.
Like that. You're talking real mice.
Yes, but these birds are very important ambassadors. We're able to talk to people and children and adults and get them to understand how important conservation is and how important it is to share our environment with these animals.
When you're talking about conservation, the Audubon Society of Rhode Island, you have, like 9,500 acres?
That's correct. We're the largest private landowner in the state of Rhode Island, and all that land is conserved for wildlife. We have some wildlife refuges that are open to the public where people can hike. This time of year, they can cross-country ski, they can enjoy the trails, and all that information for all our open trails are on our website. But on top of that, we have land that people don't even know that's preserved and set aside for wildlife.
Which is so important, because you're not only preserving, which I think a lot of people associate Audubon with birds,
Correct.
but you also have other programs as well.
We do. Yeah, and what we always say is you can't protect the birds without protecting everything that goes along with it. When we began in 1897, we began as an organization primarily to protect birds from the feather trade at that time, because the fashion at that time was for women to wear feathers on their hats. And it got to the point that large numbers of birds were being killed for this fashion trend. And that's how the Audubon Society originally began. But over the last 100+ years, we've become more of a full environmental organization on top of caring for birds. So we offer programs. School vacation is coming up. We're going to offer all kinds of kids programs on everything from owls and hawks, where we'll show these live birds again to kids, to squid dissection and things about amphibians and candle making. And we've got a whole gamut of nature stories and crafts and things like that kids can do. And then we have adult programming, like the Owl Prowl will be that week as well.
Yeah, so for when kids want to come, school vacation's coming up. Obviously, there's a snow day right now.
Right.
But when it comes to school vacation week, I think a lot of parents are trying to think of educational programs that you can do, and the Audubon does offer a lot of programming.
We do. We offer not only regular programming for school groups, but we offer programming, like I said, for adults, for small children. We have a Little Peeps program for 1 and 2 year olds, all the way up to lectures and other adult programs. But school vacation week is extremely busy for us, both at our center in Bristol and our headquarters in Smithfield, where we offer programs all day for kids, a wide range of ages. Like I said, everything from a simple nature story for the really younger children to things like that squid dissection for older kids. So there's a wide gamut, and all the information is on our website. And those programs, some have a small charge, and some are just free with admission to our facility in Bristol.
What do you say if people, like I have a friend who's scared of birds.
Yes.
Do people ever come to you and talk to you about that? Like, oh, I'm scared of birds, so I don't want to be involved. Something like that.
You know, and it's true. Everybody's afraid, has different fears, but we have to think about, like I said originally, you can't protect the birds without protecting everything that goes along with it. So in nature, everything is so interconnected. So we say to people, you know, even ticks, which nobody likes, has a role in nature. You know, it has a purpose and a reason to be there. And so it's important to protect that entire habitat and all the animals that live there.
Exactly. Are you good holding her still?
You know, I think what I'll do is I will put her away, and I'm going to turn over to Hope Foley, who's in charge of our media, and she's going to tell everyone about our Peregrine party coming up in the spring, and then I will be back. So.
That's great. I'm going to take, as you can see, I'm taking a couple pictures here so we can have those. Eek, you were a wonderful ambassador.
Thank you.
I absolutely loved meeting you. Yes, and we do want to talk about the Party for the Peregrines, which is a wonderful. There we go.
There we go, just about time.
Was she showing off, or was she?
I think she's probably getting just about done for the day, so we'll put her away.
We're going to put her away. Okay. Thank you so much,
You're
Eek,
very
and
welcome.
Thank you, Anne, for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to bring Hope Foley out here, who's going to talk to us a little bit about Party for the Peregrines, which is a wonderful fundraiser that you have. If I can have you scoot over just a little bit. There we go. So this is a great fundraiser that you have coming up, and it's Party for the Peregrines.
It is.
I learned about the peregrines today that it is the fastest animal on the planet, and they're right here in Rhode Island.
It is.
What?
This fundraiser that we're having is really a celebration of all raptors, and it's being held on April 21st at the Squantum Club in East Providence. And, you know, it's a little bit different than a normal fundraiser. We do have wonderful items in our silent auction and our live auction, but really it's about the birds, and they always steal the show. So not only is Eek going to be there, but we're going to have our red-tailed hawk, an American kestrel, other owls will be present, and guests get to get up close to these birds, just like you were with Eek.
That was mind-blowing, by the way. That was heart-pumping.
It's a great opportunity, and they got to talk to our naturalists and the Audubon staff, like Ann DeMonte, who care for these birds, know them very well, know about their injuries, know about their habitats, and also just about what makes them such incredible creatures. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for people to get out, support Audubon, raise money to help these creatures, and also to protect the habitats out there. So that starts at 7 p.m., but we also have a very special VIP reception at 6. And for those people who are truly passionate about raptors, we have invited a wildlife rehabilitator from Connecticut to come in with her bald eagle.
Wow.
So that reception starts at 6. Guests who opt for that will have preferred seating at the event, reserved parking, and there's an open bar and lots of delicious hors d'oeuvres, but they'll have an hour to speak to this woman who's rehabilitated this bald eagle, get up close in a small group setting, and learn all about that amazing bird.
And see our nation's icon,
emblem. Right, absolutely, and I think they are truly rare. So that's a very special event. Tickets may be bought in advance on our website, and our website address is www.asri.org, which stands for Audubon Society of Rhode Island.
Keeping it simple.
Yep, so if you go on, you can get all the details about the party, about the VIP reception, or if they just want to go and celebrate at the 7 p.m. when the party starts, you know, we'd love to have you or any of your viewers join us for that very special event.
Great. Hope, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much. And just quickly, that will also help with the Raptor Cam, right?
Absolutely.
The fundraiser with the Raptor Cam.
We have the Peregrine webcam,
Perfect.
If you go to our website, starting in March, you can watch the peregrine falcons on the top of the Superman building, right down the street here from you. We have a nesting box, and there's a camera on the box, so you get to see when the peregrines return to Providence, watch them as they lay their eggs hatch. So it all starts in March, and then the birds are also banded. So all of that is on our website, and it's addictive, I'm going to warn you, because once you start watching
We'll get
those
no
peregrines,
work done.
that's right.
We
you
will
sit
get no
there,
work done.
That's all you do. So it's a wonderful opportunity, and that's why we call it the Party for the Peregrines, but it's
all
really
about
a
them.
celebration of all raptors, but the peregrines are definitely in there and included.
And I read that they can fly up to 200 miles an hour on their downward swoop.
They are
That's fascinating.
amazing birds of prey.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Bob and Ann and Eek, who's behind us. I really appreciate you guys coming in. Appreciate it. And we'll have more information on our website as well. For the
Great.
Party for the Peregrines and your visit. So thank you both so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate your time and coming to visit.
Thanks for having
Go
us.
Local Live.
Okay,
Appreciate
great.
it.